Hello everyone, my name is John. I hope you're all doing well, and in this video I'm going to be going over how to run processes in the background using forms, as well as some of the other data preparation tasks in Gaio outside of the builder. So to start with, we have this sample dashboard, this products dashboard built. There's not a whole lot going on here, but I'm just going to open it just to show you guys. And the one thing I want to focus on here is by clicking this button, register product, and this pop-up window here. So we allow for some user input, the product name, category from a drop-down, price, and tag. And if I was to select the save button, our new product that we just registered would now show up on our dashboard and in our products table. So how does that work? First of all, we have, using our content task, we have it linked to open up the flow for this dashboard, which is just a form task and a content task for the banner. So if you watched the previous video on forms, you may be familiar with the form task. So basically this one here specifically is opening the register product form, and the form is shown inside the dashboard as opposed to open with a button. So now that we know that it's the register product form, let's go check that one out. So if I go to the forms tab here and select register product, now our whole form has opened. We can edit it, everything like that. But you can see here that these are the same user input values that were in the dashboard. So the product name, category, price, and tag. And the important thing that we're doing here is we have created a parameter. So this one here is called insert product name, and we have set the product name to this parameter so that if you type anything in here, it will set the value of the user input to this parameter. So we have parameters for all of these. So product, insert product name, insert category, price, and tag as well. And the other thing I want to focus on is that for the execution type, instead of refresh current flow, which I think we showed off last time, we have the run flow and background selection checked, and the flow we're loading in the background is this 3 insert products. So let's check out that flow just to see what's going on there. Going back to flows and insert products. So this flow is very simple. It's just inserting a row into the products table using this insert row task. So basically what's going on with that run flow in the background is when the form is submitted, it will run the whole flow for whatever's selected. So here it's only one task, obviously, but if it was more, like another example we're going to get into next, it would run all of the tasks there. And also this insert row task is relatively simple. All it's doing is inserting a row, obviously, into the products table. So if you have something where you just wanted to insert a row or something like that, you can definitely use the insert row task for that. And here you're able to, either input a static value that you want to create, a parameter, or some kind of a computed field. And so here we're inserting a row based on the user input parameters of category, price, product name, and tag. So what's typed into those boxes in the form on the dashboard will then be inserted into a new row. And the other thing we're doing here is using the computed field to generate a unique ID. This is just a function in ClickHouse that kind of does that for us. Nothing too crazy going on. So yeah, that's a pretty basic example of running the flow in the background using a form, as well as using the insert row task and taking in user input on a dashboard to create more rows in your table and insert data and things like that. But we do have another example. So this customer's dashboard has something similar going on, but let me just open up the dashboard real quick so you can see. So now with the customer's dashboard open, you can see it's relatively simple. But what's really cool is we have in this table, you can see this icon here. And what this icon does is it allows you to open a form related to a row in the table. So if I just click change status, you can see that now a form has opened. It allows us to change the status, so active or inactive, for this customer ID. And if I was to click send, it would update that status. Now let's get into the flows just to see how all of that works and what's all going on. So going back into the flow for this dashboard process, if we go into the table report task itself, you can see that in report under forms, we have linked the change status form here with the table. So that's how you would set this up, so that you get the icon all the way on the left and it will open up a form if you click. Now closing out of that and returning to the workflow view, I'm just going to navigate to the form like we did with the last one, just to see what's going on there, the change status form. And we have the parameters here, the customer ID, and basically, so just like last time, we're running the flow in the background and we're loading update customer status. So if I navigate to that process, so you can see that there's a lot more going on here. First is the update task. So what the update task does is it allows you to edit one or multiple rows that meet a certain criteria. So let me open this. And what's specifically going on here is the row where the customer ID is equal to the customer ID parameter. So this is set based on which row in the dashboard table we selected that form on. So basically the customer ID we selected, where it's equal to that, it changes the status to the parameter that was set by the user when they changed the option in the drop-down menu. Sorry, I didn't explain that correctly, but basically the user input. So it basically, if customer was active and I went into that form and changed their status to inactive, now their status would change in the table as well. Is basically what's going on here. And similar to the insert row, you can select certain rows and things like that based on a parameter, value, or a computed field. Here we're just using parameters because it's all user input, but maybe you wanted to add like a modified date, you wanted to change the date last modified, you could have a computed field that just changes the modified date to now, or something like that. Just an idea for how you might otherwise use the update task. And then we have a builder here that essentially just takes the inactive users from customer distribution and puts it into the inactive customers table. As you can see, also it's an incremental builder, and like I explained before, this whole flow will run when the send is clicked on the form. So the whole flow, every task will run, the update, the builder, and finally this task here, which is a run flow task. So basically, if I double click on this, what this task does is it will run a whole flow. So here, it's going to run the 6 delete inactive customers flow. So after we have added the inactive customers to our new inactive customers table, we're going to run the inactive customers flow, which just uses the delete task to delete them from the customers table. Because we only want our active customers there, so we're going to delete those rows. And again, we have a new task, the delete task. So let's see what's going on here. Similar to the update and the insert row, you can input a value, parameter, computed, but basically, instead of editing, this deletes based on a specific filter. So this is going to delete all rows where customer ID is in this subselection of select customer ID from inactive customers. So if any of the customer IDs match between inactive customers table and the customers table, they then just get deleted from the customers table. But again, only when this process runs, which is right after the updates customer status flow. So I know this video might have been a little bit more complicated. There's a little bit more going on this time, new tasks, all that kind of stuff. So we will have our documentation link below if you have any more questions. And our support team, as always, is willing to answer any of the other questions you may have. Thank you so much.